What if the constant food thoughts just went away? What if you were able to be present in your relationships and feel comfortable in your own skin and trust yourself to make healthy choices? Hi, my name is Debbie Lichter with Freedom from Food Addiction, and I I'm so passionate to share with you what you can actually do to really get on the path of freedom yourself. Because here's the deal, sister. I was a food addict of the hopeless variety. I will share more about that in a moment. And I had tried everything and nothing was working, and I was so frustrated and really embarrassed and really ashamed, and today I actually have total freedom. I trust myself, and I don't even really think about the food. I don't really obsess about the food. It just feels intuitive. I enjoy my food. I feel nourished by it, but I don't eat over my emotions. I don't live my life and eat and live to eat. I eat to live today. And and my life has just blossomed into this incredibly fulfilling, rich, just wonderful, wonderful life. And and I just want you to have that. I want you to have that because it's really wonderful. And let me just tell you, it was not always that way for me. I mean, not too long ago, I was a health and fitness expert who looked like the picture of health on the outside. I was running a health club. I was actually a Pilates expert, so I was helping people with mind body fitness, and had all of the, all of the tools and the health and fitness knowledge, and a ton of nutrition knowledge. I had been studying and trying to figure out food my whole life, but I felt like such a fraud. I felt so inauthentic because I was totally unhealthy with food. I was constantly obsessed and thinking about food all the time. I felt anxious and just like never really felt okay. It felt like everybody else got like the playbook for like how to do life, and I just didn't get it. And I would feel like really emotional and really erratic, and then would be like just trying all day long just to like get on top of things and get a feeling of control, and I pretty much just like felt like this inner out of controlness all the time. And so I would like look to other people wanting to, wanting other people to like me and wanting other people to validate me and make me feel okay because I never felt okay on the inside. And then with the food, it was like I could be really good and like restrict all day long. And then I would get home at night and I would be like, F that. I want what I want. I feel depleted. I feel irritated. I feel annoyed. I've been giving everything of myself to everybody else, and like I deserve this. This is what I want. This is my time. And so I would go for something that tasted good, and even if like my intention was to have something healthy, like as soon as I started eating that thing that tasted good to me, I wouldn't want to stop. And so I could easily eat two or three servings and then still want something sweet for, after that. And like, I mean, for me, being full didn't mean that I would stop eating. I just didn't have that gauge. And then finally, by the time I stopped, I'd feel so bloated and so gross, and then start beating myself up, feeling all guilty and ashamed, and just swearing, okay, I'm gonna just have to restrict tomorrow, and like get into really, really like extreme thinking with now what I had to do to make up for the binge and what I needed to do to my body. And I mean, it was just so sad. And I felt so sad and I felt so empty, you know? And for me, it really wasn't until I got honest about how incongruently I was living that everything started to shift. Because, see, up until that point, I hadn't been willing to actually get honest with myself. I mean, I was obsessing about myself all the time and obsessing about my life, but it was really hard for me to actually have a look at the fact that the way that I was doing life wasn't working. And I needed to be open to learning a way of living and being that was different from how I had been doing it. And that was scary for me, and it was taking me outside my comfort zone. And I also had a lot of shame about it because here I was as the expert. I was the one that was supposed to have the answers. So I didn't want to admit to myself or anybody else that I didn't have the answers. So it took me a long time to finally get to that place where I was so sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was out of options. And I was ready to finally ask for help. And it's amazing what happens when you're finally willing to ask for help. For me, that help came in the form of a spiritual mentor, and it was so powerful because she didn't tell me what to eat and kind of tell me how to manage my life. No, no, no. She helped me get free from the stuff that was blocking me deeper. Helped me to regain access to my inner guidance system. And from that place, I started navigating a new way of living and being that had me living congruently. And when I started living congruently, the food problem just fell away. The addiction went away. I started trusting myself to make healthy choices. I started really, really feeling like I could open my heart and connect genuinely with people, and that I could just be authentic. I could speak up. I was no longer withholding or lying to myself. I just felt like I could fully be me. And it was so incredible because as I became more and more comfortable just being me, like I got more and more freedom. And I felt more and more present and available. And I got more energy because I wasn't wasting so much time and energy trying to like figure out my life and control everything and figure everything out. And I got this newfound sense of confidence that wasn't like this externalized confidence, sort of like this bravado of like, oh, I can go anywhere and do anything. It wasn't like that. It was like this inner confidence that was incredibly humble, but that gave me the motivation and the willingness to get beyond my comfort zone and to actually go on and help more people. And that's what started to happen, was that other women were noticing what was going on with me, and they're like, you seem lighter, like you just seem like happier and lighter, and what are you doing? And I started teaching these women what I was doing too, and talking to more and more women who also had struggled with food, and just saying, hey, well, look, this is what I've been doing, and maybe it might work for you too. And it was phenomenal because I started to see that these very ways of being, these very, practices and freedom formula practices is what I realized it was actually like this freedom formula, like that it actually was working for them too. And I started watching these women like, 10-year family estrangements getting healed, and women, having these incredible like deep connections in their relationships and partnerships coming back together when they were on the rocks, and women just losing weight without dieting, and ultimately women coming into a deeper place of fulfillment and going on and traveling and having more fun in their lives and being more social. And I mean, I just started watching all of these beautiful like just miracles happening, and I was like, there's something to this. There's really something to this. And so today, what would just be my absolute honor is to share with you 3 keys to really help you get more congruent in your own life, so that you can really get free from the food. Because, girlfriend, you don't have to just deal with this forever. And if you're anything like me, I had tried so many things. I had done the self-help books and the diets and the exercise and the inner work and the therapy. And I mean, I'd done so much stuff that like wasn't a complete solution for me, that I was really discouraged. And I just like, I didn't want to. I almost gave up hope, because I was like, I don't want to feel like a failure constantly. And so I would try things, but I would kind of like have one foot in, one foot out, because I'm like, I don't want to go all in and then it doesn't work and then I feel even worse about myself. And so, if you have any of that going on, I just so relate to you. And I want you to know that what it really took for me was getting to a place of really, really just like letting go fully, not having it at all, fully just admitting, hey, I don't got this. I don't got this. And I'm willing to set aside everything I think I know and open myself up for a new experience. And so if you're willing to do that, even just for the few minutes that you're here joining me, then I really, really encourage you to do that, because when you set aside everything you think you know and you open yourself up for a new experience, guess what? Anything becomes possible. So just take a deep breath right now. And allow that breath just to settle into your body, and allow the energy of just possibility to just fill your system, and just notice any areas that are kind of bracing against that, and that's okay. That's okay. Just allow your breath to go there. Allow possibility to just coat those places like some fairy dust. And I'd love to share with you these tools that can really help you. So the first key that I want to share with you to really help you gain more congruence, so that you can access that path to freedom, is really to get honest with yourself. And when I talk about getting honest with yourself, this is actually a challenging thing for so many of us to do, especially when we struggle with the food and we're so used to like stuffing our emotions and withholding our truth and not trusting our guts and thinking with our minds and trying to figure things out and controlling everything and obsessing. Like, we have a million ideas about who we think we are and what we think we need and what we think is possible and what we think we're supposed to do. And so to humbly get honest with ourselves is a really, really powerful thing to do. And it was really what I needed, and it created my foundation. Because as long as I was not really giving myself the time and space to really uncover, like, what is my real problem? What does make a food addict a food addict? I had to ask myself these questions, and one tool that I want to give you in your getting honest with yourself is really understanding that there's really three types of eaters. There's like the moderate eater, the person who can kind of take food or leave it alone, and that's the kind of person that can, like, start eating something, and then they just sort of like lose interest, and they're like involved in other things, and they kind of, oh yeah, the food, but it's like, the waiter takes it away. They're not really concerned about it. That's one kind of eater. And then you have like the hard eater. You got the person who sometimes looks like the real food addict, someone who might really eat, emotionally, somebody who might really go for the binge. They might restrict. In fact, their behavior might actually really look pretty severe. But given sufficient reason, that person can stop or moderate. I have a friend who he just decided one day in 2012, he's like, I'm just going to go sugar-free. And he just decided that one day, and he never looked back. And he's been sugar-free for the rest of his life ever since. And I look at that and I'm like, wow, you are not like me. Because for me, like, given sufficient reason, I still couldn't stop. Even when the doctor said, hey, you really need to change your ways, even when I got into the relationship, even when I moved countries, even when I changed careers, even when I changed industries that I was working in, it didn't matter. Like, I still went back to the pattern. I still went back into that sabotage pattern. I still went back into the binge cycle, and I was still obsessing all the time. I didn't have that freedom. So that wasn't me. Then there's the third type. The third type is the real food addict. Now, I'm not here to diagnose anybody. In fact, what I do with my clients is I take them through a 6-step self-diagnostic process where they can uncover their own truth. I find it's really, really important to not use our minds to try to diagnose ourselves or use outside opinions to try and diagnose ourselves, but truly to cultivate the inner guidance to be able to uncover what our own truth is. Because from that place, it's going to feel authentic for you to truly, truly embrace the full solution. And from that place, you can actually access freedom. So the real food addict, given sufficient reason, they cannot stop or moderate. This means that once that person starts, they can't always stop. Sometimes they can never stop. Sometimes it doesn't mean that they're always overeating every single time that they eat, but it means that once they eat, they don't know what if they're going to overeat this time or if they're not. It's like they lose control over the amount once they start. It's really, really important to understand this piece. What's also important to understand is that it doesn't mean that it always happens that way. But if it ever happens that way, then it's something that you want to explore further. And what I found in my own life is that if I fell into that third category, then the approaches that worked for people in the first and the second categories weren't going to work for me. I was going to need an approach that was going to be deeper. I was going to need an approach that was going to have to really, really get to the root of what was blocking me, so that I could ultimately get free from that and have the food problem fall away. And that's really what real freedom is. It's not that you gain control over food. It's not that you learn how to manage your food. It's that the food problem falls away. You're no longer obsessing about it. You feel intuitively guided. You have time and energy that you didn't even know existed because you're not burning up energy foolishly, trying to manage the food, trying to manage your life, trying to figure everything out. You just don't have it. It's a completely different way of living, and it just feels so much lighter. So, getting honest is huge, a really, really big thing. And I encourage you to just get honest with yourself and ask yourself this one question: how is my relationship with food working? Do I have a sense of freedom and lightness and ease with food? Or does food feel heavy, obsessive? Do I isolate? Do I hide? Just get honest. So that's the first piece, and it's so interesting. I remember one of my clients, Jackie, when we did our initial Freedom from Food Addiction Clarity call together, we spoke about this. We spoke about the 3 different kinds of eaters, and she came to me and she's like, "Deb, I am just so sick and tired. I've tried everything. I've done the self-help, and I've done the therapy, and I've done the inner work, and I've done the diets, and I've done the Jenny Craigs, and I've done the Weight Watchers, and oh my gosh, I am so sick and tired of trying to figure this out on my own. What am I missing?" And we talked about the different kinds of eaters, and we explored deeper as to what was really going on for her. And I helped her to get some clarity that she didn't have before on what was really getting in her way. And it was so powerful because she ended up coming on as a client. And from that place, I remember every time we would talk, she's like, "I've got so much clarity. I've got so much clarity." And having that clarity helped her so much because she stopped getting in that shame and blame and self-judgment cycle that was keeping her blocked, and she was able to actually get on the path of freedom. And today it's really cool because she got so free that I actually brought her in-house. I trained her to be a coach, and she actually works with other women in the Freedom from Food Addiction program to help them get free. And her life is just like so fulfilling because she gets to help women all day long. She just got back from a trip to Italy. She's just got this incredible life now, and she said it's all because she was able to get honest with herself. She was able to really access and get the clarity that she needed that put her on the path of freedom. So it's a really, really big thing, and something that I really want you to feel empowered to be able to do in your own life. So a couple more tools that I want to leave you with. one of the things that I see women struggling with so much is that they are trying to gain control of food, thinking that if they can just gain the control, that they'll feel the freedom. But here's the thing, is that control does not create freedom. Just think about it. When you're trying to control something, do you feel contracted or expanded? Chances are you feel contracted, right? Do you feel like your life gets smaller or bigger? It probably feels a little bit smaller, right? Does it feel harder or easier? My experience is that control feels harder. It's something that creates more complexity because with control, I've got rules and rigidity and right and wrong. My world feels smaller and I don't actually feel free. And on the other hand, when I'm in a place of expansion, when I'm a place of feeling the ease and the intuition around food, when I'm in a place of life feeling intuitive and feeling guided at the deepest level, that all gets to happen not with control, but with trust. And so I would offer that really the key to being able to trust yourself to make healthy choices isn't about gaining control. It's actually about learning how to let go. And when I say let go, I don't mean like let go and, just like, oh, F it and just eat whatever I want and, just kind of like blase. I'm talking about actually letting go of the control and accessing a deeper level of inner guidance. There's something that I teach my clients called the inner guidance system. The inner guidance system is a combination of instinct, it's your gut instinct, of intuition, your sixth sense intuition, and of inspiration, your divine inspiration. And when we can come into a place where we're free from the stuff that's blocking us so that we can access our inner guidance, oh my goodness, watch out. Not only will the food problem fall away, but you'll find that in every area of your life, in your relationships, in your finances, in your career, in your family, in your health, that you feel like you can access a level of intuitive guidance no matter what comes up at all. And that, talk about empowerment. That is really a place of feeling so empowered. That is the place of authentic confidence, where it's not that you have to know everything up here. It's that you trust that you will be able to sense and feel and know deep down within what is the guided action for you to take. And let me just tell you that this, when I watch women walking around with a connected inner guidance system, their entire disposition is different. They're no longer in that anxious, obsessive, up in their head kind of place. You can just feel them. They're more comfortable in their own body. They're more easy to connect with. They feel lighter. And that's so something that I want you to have too. And so if I can invite you to just consider that control isn't necessarily what you want to be going for, but rather going for inner trust. And you're going to find that through accessing more gut instinct, more intuition, and more inspiration. And if I can leave you with a tool here, one of the access points to that is actually through your body. That's a huge, huge piece that I love to share with my clients. I love to teach them the anatomy of trust and how to actually cultivate their inner body awareness so that they can read their inner yes and their inner no. So they can sense all of the subtle messages that their body's giving them. So that they can hear the subtlety of those whispers that come from within, that just guide them and direct them along their path. These are the beautiful, beautiful gifts that happen when we can just get free from all of the noise and all the stuff that's blocking us. Which brings me to my last point that I want to share with you. The last key to really having more congruence that I want to share with you today is really on unlocking your blocks. You know, when I work with women, there's so much stuff that's weighing heavy on our hearts. We've got lots of shame, we've got lots of blame, we've got resentment, we've got fear, we've got so much, and it weighs heavy on us right here, and it creates a heaviness in our lives. And then we don't feel like we can fully be ourselves, we don't feel like we're going to be received, we don't feel like we're being understood properly, and so we shut down here at the throat. And so I find women from here to here were really, really blocked and closed off from ourselves and from others and from source. And so what's really going to help you gain the freedom is to unlock all this stuff that's blocking you. And I'm not just talking about going to therapy and talking about your problems, you know, because frankly, the image that I get is like having a plate of spaghetti and just like spaghetti and meatballs and just like moving the spaghetti and meatballs around the plate, you know. Sometimes that's how some therapy can be sometimes, where you're just sort of like looking at all the pieces, but you're still in your mind trying to fix your mind. And so it just is a very, very psychological kind of approach that ultimately isn't going to just free you of all of that stuff. I mean, how many of us know what our childhood triggers are, right? But it hasn't been enough to clear it. And so ultimately what we need to submit to a process where we're going to get free and clear of that stuff. And what I find is that when you get free and clear of the stuff that's blocking you, you create an inner lightness. And when you get free of that stuff, you are able to actually come back to your authentic self. You're able to speak truth from a very, very authentic place. And so you come back into a more genuine expression of you. And that is so powerful, because there is an experience you can have that regardless of what the scale says, you can go from heavy to feeling light, the weight of the world off your shoulders, having a smile, being full of possibility. And it can happen just like that. And so I want you to know that that is possible too. And it doesn't mean that everything in your life's going to be perfect. That's not how this world really is, right? But what it does mean is that you have the tools to get free and to stay free, and to not have other people and situations constantly getting in the way of your own inner experience of freedom. It means that you have a natural way of creating the healthy boundaries within yourself and around you that allow you to cultivate a very resourced, connected way of being, so that not only is the food intuitive, not only are you feeling like you can express yourself authentically, but that you can actually connect with others in a really meaningful way without the stickiness of how other people behave, how other people think, how other people act. That you actually get to be an entirely different way, and you're not brought down by others. These are the qualities of living congruently. The way that you are on the inside is reflected as the way you are on the outside. There's no inconsistency there. And so you feel that full alignment, and you feel confident to go on and to help more people from that place. Oh, it's so possible. And so I hope that these tools helped you. I hope it gave you some insight and some clarity. And if you find yourself in that third category and you're really, really sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you're like, Deb, this is great, but I want to like really, really know specifically what I need to do right now to get free, then I want to invite you to apply for a clarity call with me. And let me just share, like, really, do not do this if you're not really ready. If you're not really ready, then just hang out. You are now officially a part of my inner circle. You're going to be getting weekly articles and blogs from me, and with lots of tools and insights. You're going to be getting all that kind of stuff. And if you want to just hang out there and get these tools and kind of just get some more information, I totally respect that. And if you're like, Deb, I am up to here with information, I want freedom, I want transformation, then I want to invite you to take action and click the link below. Apply for a Freedom from Food Addiction Clarity call with me. You and I will connect one-on-one and really, really help you get clear on what you want and what's getting in the way for you. And I will give you some tools that can help you right away. I am super passionate about that. So if that resonates for you, then go ahead and just click the link below. And if it doesn't resonate for you, then I look forward to connecting with you on a weekly basis. You're going to get articles and blogs. And if you want to connect more with a community, you're always welcome to check us out. There is a Freedom Embodied Live Facebook group that you can, it's an invitation only. You're welcome to request to join, and I would love to see you there. I share stuff there as well. So bottom line, sister, I am here for you in whatever capacity that is going to help you right now. And if you're like, Deb, I want to go all the way, I'm serious, then let's do that. And let's set that up sooner rather than later, because I know from me that when I was in my worst place and I was sick and tired and I was ready for freedom, like I did not want to spend another day in the emptiness and the frustration and the sadness and the loneliness. And so if that is you, then I cannot wait to connect with you. So thank you so much for taking this time out, spending it with me. Thank you for taking this time for you. And I look forward to connecting with you soon. Bye for now.